The news of my fiancé fathering a child with his mistress exploded just before our wedding. Fu Yunshan spoke casually without waiting for my interrogation. It's just an accident. You should focus on the engagement party first. Besides, your father is in the late stages of stomach cancer. Canceling the alliance now would be detrimental to both families. That night, he missed the engagement party but posted a photo of a baby in a swaddle on his social media. When I called him on video, he was feeding the newborn with a bottle. I've been taking care of the baby lately, so I don't have time for you. You know, being the only heir in our family, the child is more important. He wiped the milk from the baby's mouth and said, "But don't worry, I'll send him to the UK once he's a month old. You just need to show up as the child's mother during holidays. The position of Madame Fu will always be yours." I stared at the matching diamond ring on his ring finger and laughed out loud. "Fu Yunshan, let's annul this engagement," he snorted coldly. "Don't be so willful just over something like this." I hung up the video call and dialed Mr. Fu's private number. "I heard you're looking for a new wife. How about considering me?" I gently stroked my belly and smiled. "After all, I'm naturally fertile. I can give you as many sons as you want. How lonely it must be to be the only heir. I'll give him some brothers to liven things up." 1. Fu Chengxi's slightly hoarse voice came through the phone. "Wani, what nonsense are you talking about?" I chuckled lightly, my voice tinged with mockery. "You've seen the news. Your beloved son, I find him filthy. I'm serious, I want to replace him." There was silence on the other end for a few seconds, followed by a trembling voice. "It's hard to explain in a few words. I'm coming over to talk in person." "Sure, I'll wait for you at home." I smirked, a glint of determination flashing in my eyes. Despite being just over 30, Fu Chengxi has been struggling with infertility due to a hereditary issue in his family, and his attempts at IVF have all failed. He had no choice but to adopt Fu Yunshan from a collateral branch for training. The Shu family's ability to become a marriage partner for the Fu family was entirely due to the fertile physique passed down through generations of Shu women. It's said that our women are highly fertile, often conceiving multiple births. Regardless of whether my father is in trouble or not, this marriage was an unspoken necessity for both the Fu and Shu families. Who would have thought that Fu Yunshan, who had been in a relationship for 5 years, would be so foolish as to father a child out of wedlock just before the wedding, and still expect me to swallow my pride? I, Shu Wani, am not the type to swallow my anger and suffer in silence. I had just hung up the phone when the doorbell rang urgently. Fu Chengxi stood at the door. His eyes filled with complex emotions. Before he could speak, I grabbed his tie and pulled him into the room. "Wani, you." Before Fu Chengxi could finish speaking, I silenced him with a kiss. I traced my fingers along the collar of his shirt, then ventured further inside. My actions spoke volumes. Leaving no room for hesitation or coyness, I was telling him in the most direct way that I was serious. I could feel the struggle and hesitation within Fu Chengxi, but in the end, he succumbed to desire. A fleeting moment of indulgence, he held me, his voice hoarse from the aftermath. "I have some urgent matters to handle abroad, and I need to leave tomorrow. It might take a while. Wait for me to return." "What about the wedding?" Then, he lowered his eyes and glanced at me. "As planned, I'll rush back. You're the only daughter of the Shu family, and the most suitable to be the daughter-in-law of the Fu family." After Fu Chengxi left, I was about to go back to sleep when my phone buzzed on the nightstand. Fu Yunshan's voice came through the receiver, carrying an air of entitled arrogance. "Wani, come over right away. Yaya is feeling down, so you take care of her child while I take her to an auction to cheer her up." Taking care of the child he had with another woman. Has he been hit on the head by a door or something? "Fu Yunshan, I'm not your family's servant, nor am I a nanny. You've got the wrong person." He paused. Sighing, "Wani, Gao, you suffered to give birth to this child for you. For the Fu family, she's carrying the Fu family's bloodline. As the future mistress, isn't it your duty to learn how to care for the child?" His words were utterly absurd. A mocking laugh escaped my throat. "Fu Yunshan, your logic is so touching it gave me goosebumps. We've already broken up. It's none of my business who you have a child with or who takes care of it. Please don't call me to harass me anymore." Just as he was about to say something, I hung up the phone without hesitation. I lay back in bed, getting angrier the more I thought about it. As I picked up my phone to browse the news and calm down, a notification popped up. The Fu Corporation's CEO splurges billions on true love, confirming love with $100 million jewelry. Upon clicking in, the accompanying image shows Fu Yunshan holding Gaou at the auction venue. In the photo, his gaze at Gaou is tender. Filled with such focus and affection, it's something I never saw on his face during our 5 years of dating. My heart felt like it was lightly pricked by something, a bit painful. Over the years of our relationship, for my birthday, he would at most have his assistant buy a random bag or piece of jewelry. He never picked anything out himself, let alone put so much thought into making me happy. People say that where the money is, the love is, so it seems Fu Yunshan never loved me at all. I thought I'd try on a wedding dress to lift my spirits. The sight that greeted me as I pushed open the door of the bridal shop froze me in my tracks. 2. In front of the full-length mirror, Gaou was gracefully twirling in her wedding dress. She frowned, pointing to the bodice of the wedding dress, and said to the shop assistant beside her, "Tighten it a bit more here. And the hem, I think it would look better if it were 3 centimeters longer." That wedding dress was the result of repeated communication between me and the designer, taking half a year to complete, completely hand-embroidered, expensive, and carrying all my fantasies about future marriage. A surge of anger instantly rose to my head. I took a deep breath, suppressed the fury in my heart, and stepped forward a few paces, speaking coldly. "Take it off. This is my wedding dress." When Gaou heard my voice, she shrank back. "Can you please stop being so aggressive? You're scaring Yaya." His tone carried a hint of reproach, as if I were some kind of shrew. I was so angry I almost laughed. "Fu Yunshan, that's my custom-made wedding dress. It took me half a year, sewn stitch by stitch. What right does she have to wear it?" Fu Yunshan's expression was complicated, as if tinged with a hint of guilt. "Wani, of course she has the right to wear it. She's the bride, so naturally, she wears the wedding dress. I'm a bit confused by what he means. I will marry you, and the alliance between the Shu and Fu families remains valid." He paused, glanced at Gaou who was hiding behind him, and his eyes softened even more. "But Yua went through so much to give birth to our child for me. I don't want to treat her unfairly, so I thought, let Yua attend this wedding ceremony. It would give her a proper status." "What did you just say?" I was shaking with anger. If I really did this, Shu's family and I would only become a laughingstock. Fu Yunshan seemed to think his arrangement was absolutely right, his tone growing more and more certain. "Wani, I know this isn't fair to you, but Yua has really been through a lot. Please, for the sake of the child, Fu Yunshan, you bastard. Do you want me to cooperate with you in this farce of a century wedding? I was the one who got the marriage certificate, but Gaou was the one who had the wedding night. Are you really expecting me, the legitimate wife, to raise your illegitimate child? Do you think I, Shu Wani, am some street beggar for you?" "Fu Yunshan, to order around." My voice grew louder, drawing the attention of other customers in the bridal shop. Gaou began to sob quietly. "Miss Shu, please don't be angry. It's just my status and position. I just want to be a bride once. I know I'm not worthy." Fu Yunshan frowned, his eyes carrying a warning. "Shu Wani, my mind is made up. You have to agree whether you like it or not. If it weren't for my father's sake, do you think I would marry you?" I let out a cold laugh. It seemed Fu Chengxi hadn't told him about the change in the wedding. "Sure." I stared straight into his eyes, my voice cold. "But by then, it won't be him replacing the bride, it'll be me replacing the groom." Fu Yunshan's brows furrowed slightly, as if he hadn't expected me to be so straightforward, and his expression became complicated in an instant. Gaou, who had been sobbing behind him, looked up, her eyes flashing with triumph. Over the next few days, Fu Yunshan and Gaou's wedding photos topped for 3 consecutive days. The news promoted was still about the Fu and Shu families. Only the wedding photos had been replaced with Gaou's. Unknowingly, everyone treated her as the real young lady of the Shu family. My close girlfriends asked me worriedly what had happened. People in our circle were mocking me, laughing at how I had groveled so much that I even gave away my own identity to the other woman. I chose to ignore it all and focused on accompanying my father. The doctor said my father's condition was deteriorating rapidly and he needed to be hospitalized for observation. I stayed by his side every day, never leaving his side. I carefully blocked out all news about Fu Yunshan and Gaou, afraid that these sordid matters would disturb my father. However, Jiao actually took advantage of my absence and walked into my father's ward with Fu Yunshan on her arm. As soon as I entered, I saw Jiao holding a fashion magazine, pointing at the wedding photos in it, and speaking to my father in an affected tone. Uncle Shu, look, aren't these wedding photos beautiful? Yunshan and I worked really hard to get them done, but it was all worth it to wear this gown and marry him. On our wedding day, I'll definitely have you sit in the honored seat. My father's face turned ashen, his chest heaving violently, one hand clutched the bedsheet tightly, his lips trembling as if trying to say something but unable to. The monitoring device by the bedside emitted a piercing alarm. Dad! I let out a sharp cry and rushed forward to press the emergency call button by the bed. Miss Shu, please don't get so agitated, Jiao said insincerely, but I pushed her away. Get out of here, I roared, my eyes instantly turning red. Quick, the patient is in critical condition. Prepare for emergency treatment, the doctor shouted. I was pulled away by the nurse, watching helplessly as my father was wheeled into the emergency room. Fu Yunshan tried to help me up, but I slapped his hand away. Don't touch me, you beast. I pointed at his nose and cursed. You know my dad's not well, yet you come here to upset him. What are you trying to do? Jiao cowered behind Fu Yunshan, revealing only half her face, and spoke cautiously. Miss Shu, we just wanted to come and invite your father to the wedding feast. Nonsense. I scrambled to my feet like a madman, charging toward Jiao, but Fu Yunshan held me back firmly. Shu Wani, calm down, calm down. How can I calm down? That's my father, I struggled, my nails almost tearing into his arm. 3. It's just an accident. Fu Yunshan's voice carried an unmistakable irritation and anger. Besides, Yaya was just being kind. Who knew he would get so worked up? He glanced at Jiao, his gaze carrying a hint of protectiveness. Now everyone outside assumes Yaya is the Shu family's eldest daughter. If no one from the Shu family attends the wedding, her identity will be questioned. And it won't do any favors for the Fu family's reputation. I pulled the corner of my mouth, revealing a bitterly sarcastic smile. Fu Yunshan, are you blind or just stupid? You know better than anyone what kind of person Jiao is. She was never part of the Shu family. She's just a third wheel who climbed her way into bed. Fu Yunshan's face darkened completely, and he raised his hand to slap me hard across the face. My head jerked to the side, and a sharp ringing filled my ears. Even though I'm the one who married you, the woman I've always considered my wife is Yaya. Please show some respect. This sentence is like a dull knife, slicing back and forth across my already shattered heart. More intense than the pain is the overwhelming hatred that erupts like a volcano. After 5 years of being together, how could he be so heartless? You don't need to come to the wedding in 2 days. Fu Yunshan spoke casually, but there was a warning hidden beneath his words. Just stay in the hospital and keep your father company. Without looking back, Fu Yunshan waved to the few black-suited bodyguards standing at the end of the corridor. Keep an eye on her. She's not to leave the hospital, not even one step. The few black-suited bodyguards immediately came over, surrounding me like a wall. My eyes were fixed on the direction they disappeared. Does Fu Yunshan think that trapping me in the hospital will allow him to marry Jiao without a care in the world? Dream on. I caressed my belly, took out my phone, and dialed. On the wedding day, Jiao stroked the luxurious hem of her dress with a smug smile. What's so special about the Shu family's eldest daughter? Not everything is lost. Fu Yunshan, standing in the ceremony hall, seemed restless. He had sent out many invitations, and with the Fu family's reputation, there should have been no shortage of guests. With the ceremony almost starting, there were only a few guests present. The entire hall felt empty. Jiao also noticed this situation. She frowned and tugged at Fu Yunshan's arm, her voice filled with unease. Yunshan, why are there so few people? Fu Yunshan's anxiety deepened, and he gestured for the waiter to call the Fu family's butler, but what appeared before him was an unremarkable servant. Fu Yunshan's anger flared instantly as he demanded, "Where's the butler? Why isn't he here?" The servant trembled slightly and whispered, "The butler is busy with the master's wedding and can't spare the time, but he said that if the young master needs anything, he can instruct me." My dad's wedding, how come I didn't know? Who is he marrying? Fu Yunshan's voice betrayed his unease, and his face turned pale. With Miss Shu Wani of the Shu family, Fu Yunshan's face turned incredulous in an instant, and he muttered, "What? Say that again. The servant, seeing his reaction, was a bit scared but repeated, right upstairs. The head of the family is holding a wedding ceremony with Miss Shu Wani of the Shu family. My fingertips gently brushed over the gilded invitation in front of me, where the names stood out clearly, 2, 4, Mr. Fu Chengxi and Miss Shu Wani. A faint smile curved the corner of my lips. Downstairs, Fu Yunshan and Jiao Yu's wedding should have already begun. No, maybe it hasn't even started yet. After all, there are so few people here, upstairs, at my wedding. It's a completely different scene. In the magnificent banquet hall, political bigwigs and business tycoons gather together. I hold on to Fu Chengxi's arm and slowly walk towards the ceremony stage. He stood tall and imposing, exuding a sense of authority and mature charm that surpassed Fu Yunshan. As if time had added layers of gravitas to his presence, he leaned down and whispered in my ear, "Don't be nervous." I smiled back and softly replied, "With you here, I'm not nervous." But when he placed the ring on my finger, my heart didn't race as I had expected. There is only a sense of settled calm. I feel a new kind of restraint, a mix of power and protectiveness. It doesn't feel bad, at least much more genuine than that fake tenderness before. Thank you all for attending the wedding of myself and my new wife, Shu Wani. Fu Chengxi's voice boomed powerfully, echoing throughout the hall. An abrupt commotion disrupted the harmonious atmosphere. Fu Yunshan and Jiao Yu stood awkwardly at the door, trying to rush over but were stopped by security. Seeing the grand and solemn wedding scene before me, seeing myself in a wedding dress standing beside Fu Chengxi, Fu Yunshan's eyes instantly filled with blood. "Dad, Shu Wani, what are you doing?" The security guards beside him reacted quickly, holding him back firmly. Fu Yunshan struggled frantically, still shouting, "Stop, you can't get married, this is impossible." Jiao Yu followed behind him, wanting to pull him back but not daring to, only helplessly watching. Fu Chengxi merely gave a cold glance at the chaotic doorway, a hint of impatience flickering across his brow. He wrapped his arm around my waist and walked in front of the guests. "Sorry, just a minor hiccup. Please continue." Fu Yunshan didn't know where he got the strength from, but he managed to break free from the security guard's grip and stumbled over here. "Dad, tell me, what's going on? How could you marry Wani?" "She's my fiancée." Fu Chengxi's eyes turned cold, and with a loud slap, he struck Fu Yunshan across the face. The crisp sound of the slap instantly silenced the hall. Fu Yunshan seemed completely stunned, staring blankly at Fu Chengxi. Fu Chengxi looked at him coldly. "Absurd. What do I need to explain to you?" "Fu Yunshan, you're becoming more and more out of line." A wave of exhilaration surged within me. "Your fiancée is Miss Shu, not me." I stood beside Fu Chengxi, calmly watching Fu Yunshan, who was beaten and disheveled. "And now you should address me differently. From today on, I am the new lady of the Fu family, your stepmother." "You?" Fu Yunshan widened his eyes. I turned my gaze to Jiao Yu, standing not far away, whose complexion was worse than a ghost's. "By the way, I'm an only child, with no sisters. This, Miss Shu, I wonder which Shu family she belongs to." As soon as I finished speaking, a murmur of whispers and stifled laughter erupted in the banquet hall. All eyes were on Jiao Yu, filled with undisguised disdain and contempt. Jiao Yu's face turned pale instantly, and she clutched her skirt tightly. Everyone present was sharp-witted. It was all too clear. "Wani, are you crazy? How could you marry my dad? You clearly love me." I didn't speak, just raised my hand. Another crisp, loud slap landed solidly on the other side of Fu Yun's face. Everyone gasped, and the scene fell completely silent. Fu Yunshan was truly stunned this time. His eyes filled with shock and an indescribable rage. "5, you dare to hit me." I withdrew my hand, calmly looking at him, my tone indifferent. "What's the big deal about hitting you?" "Fu Yunshan, face reality. I'm not doing this to get back at you. I just like Cheng Sai. He's better than you in every way." I deliberately paused, then added in his shocked gaze, "And why would you think I'd waste my marriage on revenge for a man who betrayed me?" Jiao Yu hurried forward, her face filled with a look of impending tears. "Sister Shu, how could you hit Yunshan?" "I know, Sister Shu, it's because brother Yunshan didn't marry you. But really, why bother? Is it really worth sacrificing yourself for power like this?" She spoke while carefully supporting Fu Yun deep. With a tone that seemed caring but actually added fuel to the fire, She completely steered my motives towards the direction of marrying an old man for money. Fu Yun Deep, supported by Gaou, finally regained his senses. Dad, look at her. She actually hit me in front of so many people. She's only after your money and power. How could you even consider marrying such a woman? You're my father. How can you let her humiliate me like this? Using his status as the sole heir of the Fu family, he arrogantly reported the matter to Fu Chengxi, completely forgetting that he had just been slapped by Fu Chengxi. He probably thought that no matter what, Chengxi Fu would stand by his side. Chengxi Fu coldly watched as Yun Shun Fu tried to speak, but I stopped him. I calmly walked to the center of the ceremony stage, took the microphone handed to me by the host. Thank you all for coming today to celebrate my wedding with Chengxi. I know, there were some unexpected incidents earlier, and it must have been quite a spectacle for everyone. My gaze swept across everyone in the audience, finally resting on Fu Yunshan and Gaou's commanding faces. However, life is always full of surprises. I raised my hand and gently touched my abdomen. Today, I want to take this opportunity to share an even more important piece of good news with everyone. I, Shuwani, am pregnant with Chengxi's child. As soon as the words left her mouth, a slight commotion broke out in the audience. And, it's twins. The murmurs in the audience suddenly grew louder. Twins. This is a major event for the Fu family. Fu Yunshan's expression was frozen, as if he had swallowed a fly. Gaou's mouth also gaped open, her face a mask of disbelief. Cheng Sai's expression also turned unusually delighted. He only knew I was pregnant. Otherwise he wouldn't have cooperated with me to slap Fu Yunshan in the face. He just didn't expect that I was actually carrying twins. I gave him a slight smile and gently took his hand. How is it, Mr. Fu? Are you satisfied with this surprise? Fu Chengxi tightly held my hand, his voice trembling with excitement. Wani, you've truly given me the best surprise. Wani, you know, all these years, I've been troubled by the fact that I have no children of my own. Now, not only have you given me 2 children, but you did so at the time I needed it most. I've decided that starting today, 6% of the Fu Group's shares will belong to you. As soon as these words were spoken, the entire room was in shock. 6% of Fu's shares, that's an astronomical sum. Fu Yunshan's expression grew even darker. All these years, despite being groomed as the heir, Fu Chengxi never gave him any actual shares. Fu Yunshan suddenly spoke, his voice clearly filled with anger. Dad, are you sure? How do you know that child is really yours? I sneered inwardly. As expected, they couldn't hold back. Fu Chengxi's face darkened instantly. What do you mean by that? Fu Yunshan seemed to realize he had said the wrong thing, but still pressed on. I mean, we should get a paternity test first. Since this concerns the Fu family's bloodline. Another loud slap, smack. Fu Chengxi was furious. Are you questioning my judgment, or Wan's character? I gently held Fu Chengxi's hand and said softly, Chengxi, don't be angry. Yunshan might just be too excited. After all, this is a matter of great importance to the Fu family's future. Fu Chengxi's anger subsided slightly, but his eyes still coldly fixed on Fu Yunshan. I turned to Fu Yunshan and smiled, saying, Yunshan, I had the child and Chengxi undergo a paternity test the day before yesterday. Don't worry, you'll soon have a few younger brothers. Are you happy? Fu Yunshan's Adam's apple bobbed painfully, and the words he was about to say were forced back down his throat. He was in a hurry to have a child with Gaou partly to solidify his position as heir. On the other hand, he also wanted to use the child to get shares and real power from Fu Chengxi. He knew all too well Fu Chengxi's obsession with having an heir. Over the years, Fu Chengxi has tried IVF countless times in secret, but all have been in vain. As an adopted son, although he is currently the sole heir, he has always felt insecure. Therefore, he started planning early, keeping women like Gaou, intending to have his own child first. The child in Gaou's womb is a pawn he uses to secure his position. This is the ultimate irony and blow to him. His position as heir is suddenly in jeopardy. All the careful planning he's done, it could all be ruined because of these 2 little ones in my belly. Gaou stood beside him, her previous smugness gone from her face. Once Fu Yunshan loses his position as heir, she and her child will lose all support. Fu Chengxi arranged the best room for me and hired the most professional prenatal care team. 6. He took care of me with the utmost attention to detail. In front of him, I am always gentle and considerate. occasionally showing a little woman's shyness and attachment to him, he became even more satisfied and cherished with me as his wife. Even my father received the best medical team for treatment. I knew that 2 unborn children wouldn't be enough to shake Fu Yunshen's position, but I didn't expect Gaoyu to give me a helping hand. Gaoyu secretly took oxytocin in an attempt to give birth before my engagement to Fu Yunshen. As a result, the baby was born prematurely and developed a host of health issues. During this seasonal transition, the slightest cold or flu could land the child in the hospital. Fu Yunshen has been visiting the hospital almost daily, his eyes filled with anxiety and exhaustion. Naturally, he couldn't keep up with the company's affairs. Fu Chengxi was already dissatisfied with his recent performance, and now he was frequently absent without a trace. It wasn't until his subordinate informed him that Fu Yunshen's project had a major failure, he was completely furious. Fu Yunshen, are you trying to give the company away? Can't even handle such a small matter. What else can you do? Fu Chengxi slammed the table during a high-level meeting and pointed his finger at Fu Yunshen's nose, scolding him. Look at yourself. What kind of state are you in now? Fu Yunshen stood in the center of the conference room, his face ashen, his fists clenched tightly. He knew he had been underperforming lately, but hearing the word worthless, a spark of anger flared up instantly. He felt that Fu Chengxi was deliberately picking a fight, treating him like a treasure when there was no other choice. Now that he had a biological child, he started finding every fault with this adopted son. Dad, the kid's in the hospital, he tried to explain. What hospital? You're wasting all your energy on trivial matters, and you've forgotten all the important stuff. Fu Chengxi wouldn't listen and only grew angrier. I see you don't give a damn about Fu Corporation's future. You might as well go home and breastfeed. As soon as those words were spoken, the conference room fell into complete silence. Everyone lowered their heads, afraid of getting caught in the crossfire. Fu Yunshen's face turned even paler, his lips pressed tightly together, unable to utter a single word. After this incident, Fu Chengxi started to take things seriously. He adjusted some of Fu Yunshen's core business areas under the pretext of optimizing the management structure. He distributed power to several veteran loyalists who had followed him for years. Those who had previously been optimistic about Fu Yunshen and thought his rise was a certainty began to waver. Fu Yunshen felt an unprecedented crisis and tried to salvage the situation. But every time he tried to put more effort into work, Gaoyu would pull some new stunt, and the child would get sick again. He had to rush to the hospital again. He was completely tied down, unable to move forward or back. Of course, I wouldn't just sit back and wait for them to cause trouble on their own. I've found something good in secret. Gaoyu is not only with Fu Yunshen to get pregnant as soon as possible, she also does it daily with several of Fu Yunshen's cousins. So the child Gaoyu gives birth to may not necessarily be Fu Yunshen's. Fu Yunshen's cousins had long been jealous of his adoption. If they could give him a green hat, everyone would be willing. I wonder how Fu Yunshen will react to this news. A cold smile slowly curved my lips. I had someone send it anonymously to Fu Yunshen. 7. The moment he saw the email, he froze. In the photo, Gaoyu and his cousins were engaged in a close physical struggle in a hotel. Fu Yunshen immediately arranged for a paternity test. The day the results came out, his face was terrifyingly pale. He burst into the room, his eyes bloodshot, like a beast driven to the edge of fury. Immediately after, Gaoyu's heart-wrenching scream pierced through the heavy door, echoing throughout the Fu residence. No, Yunshen, listen to me. The child must be yours. A crisp slap echoed. Bitch, what do you want me to explain? The DNA evidence is out. How much longer do you think you can fool me? Gaoyu's sobs and pleas kept coming, mixed with the sound of heavy objects falling. I sat downstairs, leisurely sipping bird's nest soup, listening to the commotion, feeling incredibly satisfied. As Gaoyu's screams grew increasingly desperate, I figured it was about time. Only then did I, worried, support my waist and slowly make my way upstairs. I approached Fu Yunshen and Gaoyu's room and raised my voice to advise. Oh, Yunshen, what kind of couple fights involves physical violence? Besides, Gaoyu did give birth to a child for you. How could you hit her so hard? The screams in the room grew even more piercing because of my words. Ah, Yunshen, I'm sorry. I really am. I checked the time. It's about right. Pounding on the door. Yunshen. You can't keep fighting. It'll kill someone. Listen to your mother. Open the door now. Get lost. Stop bothering me. The door was suddenly yanked open, and Fu Yunshan appeared at the doorway, his face furious, his eyes fierce, ready to lash out at me. Just as he was about to speak, I adjusted my angle. My body went limp, and I fell straight backward. What the? Fu Yunshan frowned, his words unfinished, when a loud shout came from the staircase. Fu Yunshan, what are you doing? Fu Chengxi had just come upstairs and saw me lying at Fu Yunshan's feet, his face turning ashen in an instant. He rushed over to me in 3 steps, his forehead sweating with anxiety. He carefully helped me up, gently placing his hands on my stomach, and anxiously asked, Wani, are you okay? Did you get hurt? Is your stomach hurting? I leaned against his chest, gasping weakly, and whispered softly, Chengxi, don't blame Yunshan. He didn't mean it, it was just that I didn't stand steady. Seeing this, Fu Yunshan also understood my intention and loudly defended himself. Dad, I didn't push her, she fell on her own. She fell as soon as I opened the door. I bit my lower lip, tears instantly welling up in my eyes, making me look even more wronged and helpless. It's all my fault for trying to mediate. Chengxi, my stomach hurts a bit. It's not the first time. The previous times when Yunshan pushed me, nothing happened. Maybe this time it was just an accident. What? Fu Chengxi glared at Fu Yunshan with uncontrollable anger, his voice icy cold. Fu Yunshan, you actually pushed WNY multiple times. Fu Yunshan's face turned pale. Just as he was about to explain again, he heard a desperate cry from behind him. Dad, help, save me. The tightly closed door was suddenly pushed open, and Jiaoyu stumbled out, crawling from inside. Her hair was disheveled, her cheeks swollen beyond recognition, her mouth and forehead cut and smeared with blood. Looking utterly horrific, she was wearing a thin, tattered robe, revealing the bruises beneath. She lay on the ground like an injured dog, reaching out desperately to grab Fu Chengxi's trouser leg. Dad, Yunshan has gone mad. He's hitting me. He's going to kill me. Jiaoyu was wailing, her voice hoarse and broken. Filled with extreme fear, Fu Chengxi's eyes nearly popped out when he saw Jiaoyu like this. He glared at Fu Yunshan, his eyes seemingly ablaze with fury. Fu Yunshan, you've really gone beyond all bounds now, beating up a woman. Are you even human? Dad, I didn't. It was her. She betrayed me. Fu Yunshan stammered in his defense, pointing at Jiaoyu on the ground, his face a mix of anger and the humiliation of betrayal. You're still lying. Fu Chengxi raised his hand and delivered a loud slap across Fu Yunshan's face. That slap packed a full force, sending Fu Yun deep stumbling. Leaning against Fu Chengxi's embrace, I watched the scene unfold. Feeling as refreshed as if I had just gulped down chilled plum juice on a scorching summer day. Get out of the Fu family. From today onwards, you are no longer my son, Fu Chengxi. Fu Chengxi could endure the repeated disappointments, but he couldn't tolerate harming his children. These 2 children were the ones he had longed for years. Chengxi immediately called the family doctor. After a thorough examination, the doctor looked grave as he said to Fu Chengxi, Mr. Fu, Miss Xu might have had a miscarriage scare. Her condition is unstable and she needs to rest. Please, no more stress. Fu Chengxi felt even more heartbroken upon hearing this. He was both caring and comforting, fearing any harm might come to the child in my womb. Gently stroking my belly, he said softly, Wani, don't worry, with me here, I absolutely won't let anyone harm you and the child. I put on a show of being weak and scared on the surface. I tightly gripped Fu Chengxi's hand. Tears welling up in my eyes, looking utterly pitiful. Inside, I was overjoyed. Fu Yunshan, even you have your day today. I had someone anonymously leak the news to Fu Chengxi about Jiaoyu being pregnant with a bastard child. Of course, to increase credibility, I also attached a detailed investigation report. It meticulously documents the unspeakable stories between Jiaoyu and her male cousins. After reading the investigation report, Fu Chengxi's face turned ashen, and he was seething with anger. He immediately ordered his men to expel Jiaoyu and the child from the Fu residence. As Jiaoyu was being driven out, her hair disheveled, she cried out in heart-wrenching sobs. She knelt at the gate of the Fu residence, shouting Fu Yunshan's name in a hoarse voice, begging him to save herself and her child. But Fu Yunshan was already in deep trouble himself. How could he possibly have the mind to care for her, under careful care? I successfully gave birth to a pair of lovely twin boys. Fu Chengxi held the two little lives, his eyes filled with love and pride. He personally named the two children Fu Sheng and Fu Lang, symbolizing light and hope. At this point, Fu Yunxian has been completely pushed out of the inner circle of the Fu group. The departments and projects he once controlled have been completely divided up by other directors. The once proud eldest son of the Fu family has now become a pariah that everyone avoids. When I was on maternity leave, I heard that Fu Yunxian had secretly come to the hospital to take a look, but as soon as he stepped through the hospital doors, he was stopped by the bodyguards arranged by Fu Chengxi. Leaving him no chance to get near the delivery room, Fu Yunxian stood at the hospital entrance, watching the bustling figures inside, his face filled with despair and frustration. Finally, he accepted his fate, realizing he could never regain his former status. Story 2. After half a year of dating, my boyfriend's controlling nature became too much, so I used an internship as an excuse to break up. A month later, 2 lines appeared on the pregnancy test, bracing myself for a beating. I decided to tell my mom. When I got home, I found my ex-boyfriend sitting on the sofa, smiling at me. My mom patted my butt. Quick, call him uncle. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. What? I widened my eyes, staring at the man on the sofa with his slim waist and long legs, only 6 years older than me. My facial features twisted in disbelief. Mom, are you sure? How the hell could he be my uncle? My grandma never told me she had a son. My mom chuckled. Silly child, he's not blood related. His dad and your grandpa were comrades in the army. The two families are close, but he's been abroad all this time, so you've never met him. Shen Mo is a biology professor now, right? So impressive. My Ching Ching is also studying biology. How about letting her intern at your research institute? My ex-boyfriend adjusted his glasses, his deep black eyes glinting with an ambiguous smile. Of course, I'd welcome her, but I already asked Ching Ching, and she refused. My mom was stunned. You've already met. I stayed silent. Met. We've got a baby together. Shen Mo had just returned to the country half a year ago and gave a lecture at our university. I fell for him at first sight, pursued him relentlessly, and finally made him mine. My mom poked my arm. Your uncle won't treat you badly. Why didn't you go, Mom? You called me earlier saying you'd arranged an internship for me. I didn't know it was with him. If I'd known, I wouldn't have used that lousy excuse to break up. Now, he's here. What do I do? That's fine. Rest at home for 2 months. Then follow your uncle. Strive to contribute to the country and bring honor to the family. Honor? In 2 months, when my belly shows, it'll just be shame. Originally, I thought Professor Shen was handsome, had high IQ, and good genes. So maybe I'd keep the baby, but now I have to call him uncle. My mom can't find out about the baby. My mom was still chatting with him. Shen Mo, you're 28 and still not married. When I was your age, I already had Ching Ching. Sis, I'm in no rush. How can you not rush? Your age is the healthiest for having a child. Stop talking, or I'll drop dead right here. Why is my life so bitter? No, the baby has to be taken care of secretly. My mom can't know. This bastard came at the right time. If I don't extort a few $100,000 from him, I won't be able to swallow this anger. I shot a murderous glare at Uncle. He remained calm, stepping forward elegantly and boldly wrapping his arm around my shoulders. Sis, I didn't prepare a gift for Ching Ching this time. Since she's back, I'll take her out shopping. My mom beamed, saying to him in front of me, it's fine to go out, but don't spend money on her, behind my back. She whispered to me, be bold and ask him for stuff. He's loaded. Thanks, really, my own mom. At the mall, I stayed silent, my face dark. His arm, which had been around my shoulders, slid down to my waist once we left the neighborhood. I pushed him away the entire way, but he didn't budge, instead looking amused, as if we were just flirting. What's wrong? Not happy to see me? He leaned in, his eyes a little mischievous. Stop, I halted. Let's settle our old scores one by one. First, we broke up. Professor Shen, please let go of me. Shen Mo not only didn't let go but tightened his grip. He leaned closer, his breath brushing my ear. First, the so-called breakup was just a text message. I never agreed. Second, your excuse was long distance after the internship. But soon you'll be interning at my research institute. That reason no longer exists. Damn, I've seen shameless people, but never this shameless. Second, Shen Mo, I have to call you uncle. Even if we're not blood related, the generational gap is there. Do you have no shame? I raised my fist to hit him. He caught my wrist, and then he licked it. I froze, my hair standing on end. Your reactions are still so cute. His smile widened, especially with his glasses and slightly narrowed eyes, reminding me of a manga villain. Indeed, should I call her sis or mom? I almost cursed, but my upbringing forbade me from swearing at elders. I took deep breaths, but still couldn't hold back. Shenmo, Professor Shen, little uncle, I'll fucking kill you. I'll asterisk 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 asterisk. This was the first time I'd sworn in front of him. The usually elegant man, unsurprisingly, turned grim. He stared at me, his expression growing stern. Darling, as your elder, I should punish you for such language. Damn, that look, that expression. Did you secretly read hentai? Why are you so perverted? He shrugged. Didn't you share it with me? Don't you like me like this? When did I share that? He suddenly realized, his smile growing even more terrifying. Oh, so it wasn't shared with me. You were secretly reading it yourself. Darling, did you forget? Your tablet is logged into my Apple ID. Damn, I remembered now. Back then, my roommate told me the outside world was exciting, and I wanted to explore, but I didn't have a VPN. I thought Shenmo, having studied abroad, must have a foreign account. So I borrowed his. Shenmo continued to expose me. Didn't you know that browser history is shared across the same account? My face burned, my voice trembling. Why you? How much did you see? However much you watched every night. I saw it all, including you bragging online about your boyfriend having 8-pack abs. Damn, my face was completely lost. I wanted to crawl into a hole. Shenmo smirked smugly. So I really don't understand why you wanted to break up. You bragged about me being handsome, tall, strong, and a high IQ professor. So, what's not to like? Your possessiveness is too strong. I told the truth. He was extremely jealous, and as a STEM major, my class was full of guys. He'd interrogate me daily, asking if I'd sat with any boys. Since dating him, my weekends never involved other men, not even delivery guys. On Friday nights, he'd treat me to a fancy dinner, then take me to his apartment, only sending me back on Monday for class. At first, it was blissful. I was intoxicated by our time together, but then I accidentally stumbled upon a yanda manga, and it scared me. From then on, I started imagining what if he really was a yanda. Gradually, I couldn't help but want to escape him. His smile faded, and he straightened up, staring at me intently. The aura around him became overwhelmingly oppressive. Jiang Qing, I can satisfy you in every other way, but not this one. Did you forget? You were the one who pursued me, and before we started dating, I already told you I'm very possessive. I hate others touching my things, let alone my person. That intense stare made it hard to breathe. Shenmo. A breakup isn't a one-sided decision. From now on, I'll treat you as an elder, an uncle, but not a boyfriend. I expected him to explode in anger, but he was calmer than I thought. Fine, I respect your choice. I hope you don't regret it. Okay, uncle, I was brave during the breakup. But when I heard Shenmo was staying at my house for half a month, I panicked and found an excuse to stay at a friend's place. Originally, I planned to extort a few $100,000 from him using the baby, but now I didn't even dare tell him, because I saw his search history on the tablet. 2 months ago, he'd searched, do women become more obedient after pregnancy, best ways to conceive, and other similar keywords. If he found out, he'd definitely use the baby to trap me. But going to the hospital costs money, and he should foot that bill. I called him, and unsurprisingly, he answered instantly. It seemed he still couldn't let me go. If I reached out, he'd eagerly hand over the money. Hey, uncle, he paused, then asked, what's up, uncle? Can you send me 10,000? I spent it on in-game purchases. I'm starving, and I don't dare tell my mom. He was silent. After a while, what game costs that much? Do you think I'm an ATM? Clean up your own mess. My money is only for your future aunt. Uncle, come on. 3,000 is fine too. Uncle, beep, 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 great. He's grown a spine and hung up on me. Before, every call was filled with sweet nothings, and he'd linger even when I wanted to sleep. What a heartless man. Or has he found someone else already? Even though we've broken up, I couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy. What did he mean by future aunt? I tentatively texted my mom, who told me, your uncle's on a blind date. The girl's a beautiful genius. Damn, I haven't even found a new boyfriend. How dare Shinmo move on so fast? I was depressed. I couldn't sleep for several nights. Online, they say you can get prenatal depression. But I'm nowhere near giving birth. Can I still get it? What's worse, I couldn't figure out how I got pregnant in the first place. Staring at the tablet, I couldn't sit still. I heard that if iCloud is enabled, I could sync his phone's content. Right, I know it's not right, but I couldn't help myself. In his photo album, there were many screenshots of our chats. Miss you so much. Have dinner with me after class tomorrow. Send tilde I want kisses. Shinmo, you're so perfect. I want to marry you. Seeing these screenshots felt like a punch to the heart. I remembered blushing and giggling in my dorm bed while texting him. Back then, we were so sweet. Just as I was getting sentimental, a photo of a beautiful woman appeared at the top. It was recently saved, probably the genius my mom mentioned. I was stunned. She was really pretty. Her nose was a nose, her eyes were eyes. I couldn't help but wonder what Shinmo was chatting with her about, but I didn't dare log into his QQ, as it would notify him. While I was hesitating, a few more chat screenshots appeared in the album. Opening them, I saw the woman complimenting Shinmo. Professor Shin, you're so handsome, just my type. You look like my future husband. How cliché. Shinmo wouldn't like such a bland confession. But a voice in my head screamed, you're just jealous. If he didn't like her, why would he screenshot it? And he'd even nicknamed her darling. He never gave me a nickname like that. Mine was 350G, the weight of a heart, a biological romance. Then, I saw he'd deleted all our chat history. Damn. I sat up abruptly. Shinmo, you've got guts. Moving on so fast, another photo appeared, showing the woman inviting Shinmo to dinner. The location was a high-end restaurant on the 5th floor of the nearby mall. I thought, fine, I'll pretend to bump into them and decide the baby's fate. In the upscale restaurant, I hid behind a menu, peeking at the well-dressed couple not far away. The woman was even prettier than in the photo, and her outfit was sexy. I lost. Shinmo wasn't even wearing his glasses today and had styled his hair. He once told me he only dressed up for special occasions with me. Liar. He's got nerve. I haven't even moved on, yet is already flirting with another woman. I gritted my teeth, stomping my feet in frustration. A waiter approached, asking for my order. I glanced at the menu. Even water cost 40 yuan. Panicking, I pointed. I'm here with someone, uncle. I ran over to Shinmo. His smile froze mid-conversation, and he turned to me, his gaze inscrutable. You're here. His tone made it sound like he expected me. I didn't know how to respond. So I greeted the woman first. This must be my future aunt. So beautiful. The woman smiled. Thank you. Her thanks made me glance at Shinmo. He seemed indifferent, gently introducing me to her. This is Lanje's daughter. Then, his tone turned cold as he addressed me. What are you doing here? Need money? I felt lost for a moment. Did I need money? Yes, but that wasn't the only reason. How much? Shinmo pulled out his phone. At least 3,000. I'll give you 5,000. Don't disturb my date. He transferred the money instantly, and my phone buzzed with the notification, but I felt incredibly uncomfortable. It felt like I was being dismissed, pushed away. Yeah, I'm the ex-girlfriend. An ex-girlfriend showing up in front of the current girlfriend is bound to be disliked. I left with my tail between my legs. I had just taken one step when I heard the beauty behind me say, Shinmo, you're so generous. She's not even your real niece. And you're giving her so much. Aren't you afraid she'll ask for more next time? I lost my composure. In a fit of pique, I turned around and retorted, 5,000 is a lot. If you knew he bought me Chanel bags and Van Cleef Arpels necklaces, wouldn't you be insanely jealous? Jiang Qing. Shinmo suddenly called my name, his eyes looking a bit strange. To me, it seemed like he was blaming me. The beauty's face instantly turned extremely ugly. Even if I'm not Shinmo's ex-girlfriend, I'm still his friend and his niece. Why should I be sneered at by a woman I've only known for a few days? I looked at the beauty, then at Shinmo. You've only known each other for a few days, and you're already taking her side. I felt extremely sad. Uncle, are you worthy of your girlfriend? Shinmo's brows were trembling. He stood up and grabbed my arm. Go wait for me at the door first. I'll take you home. What home are we going back to? I had even been thinking these days about whether to keep the baby. Now, no way. I shook him off. Professor Shinmo, I came here today to give a message from your ex-girlfriend. She said, as long as the money is in place, she won't bother you in the future. As for the child, a child without a father shouldn't be born. I gave Shinmo a hard kick, then ran away. No matter how much he called me from behind, I just quickened my pace and didn't look back. I sat on the stairs in the 5th floor fire escape and cried. Shinmo kept calling me, annoyed by the noise. I blocked him. I knew I shouldn't have made such a scene during his date. But I was just sad and jealous. Why could he say he loved me and then forget so quickly? I wanted to go home, but as soon as I stood up, a liquid gushed out from between my legs. Accompanied by a suddenly intense dull pain, I couldn't stand still and almost rolled down the stairs. I reached my hand under my skirt, my ears buzzed. Help! Where are you? My best friend called me. I was so scared that my voice was trembling, and tears were streaming out. Yao Yao, I'm bleeding, damn. You're not having a miscarriage, are you? The half-closed door of the passage behind me was suddenly pushed open. I never expected Shinmo to find me. Both he and I froze. His gaze swept over my buttocks. I instinctively turned around and covered the bloodstain on my buttocks with my hand. Hello, Ching Ching, hello. Yao Yao was still shouting on the phone. It's a bit slow to call 120 now. My boyfriend and I are nearby. We'll drive over right away. Hold on, Ching Ching. His face visibly turned pale. You're pregnant with mine. But I took precautions. His voice was trembling. I was so sad that my voice was tinged with sobs and a bit hoarse. Are you denying it? Precautions aren't 100% effective, I admit it. He picked me up and ran. His long legs jostled me around, and I felt the blood flowing even more profusely between my legs. It hurts. I covered my stomach. His hands were shaking as he took off his coat and covered me with it. Hold on. It'll be quick, very quick. He was more excited than I expected. Even his eyelashes were trembling. I've seen many sides of him, but I've never seen him like this. He seemed very scared. What was he afraid of? Afraid that I'd cling to him. Is that why you asked me for money? You don't want this child? His voice was a bit breathless. Yes. Why? I didn't look at him, filled with grievance. If it's kept, what do you think the child should call you? Dad, or great uncle? Jiang Qing. He was annoyed. I'll say it again. I'm not your real uncle. He took deep breaths, his breathing heavy. He probably knew he shouldn't lose his temper with me at this moment. So he restrained his emotions and said softly, bear with it, we'll be there soon. My nose felt sour as I looked at him. Do you really want this child? Yes. If you had to choose between the child and me, which one would you save? He seemed a bit speechless. It's not that far yet. Answer. Shinmo looked at me, his expression very serious. Yes, I want the child, but the premise is, this child must have a mother. My heart suddenly trembled, my nose still sour. I said, Shinmo, I'm telling you, neither I nor my baby can have anything wrong. Okay, do you know what it feels like to be extremely embarrassed? I was okay, but Shinmo almost ruined his reputation as a biology professor. He carried me and ran, shouting, hurry up, she might be having a miscarriage, save her and the child. I want both mother and child to be safe. As soon as the nurses heard this, they immediately pushed a bed and took me in, after getting an 4 drip and a thorough examination inside. The result was, my period. How could it be my period? I was shocked. I felt so embarrassed. Shinmo also muttered to himself, how could it be her menstrual period? The doctor was speechless. Did you take a pregnancy test before? Yes. 2 lines. I frantically defended myself, holding up 2 fingers. Yao Yao, who had rushed over, also spoke up for me. I saw it too. It was indeed 2. We both suddenly stopped and looked at each other. 2 hours later. Yao Yao was hugging me and crying her eyes out. Damn it, how could I be pregnant? I was drinking and clubbing yesterday. I stroked her hair to soothe her. During that time, Yaoiro's period was also late, and we took the test together. Shinmo was sitting upright beside me, looking very tired. His hair, which was originally styled, was now a mess on top of his head. As he had been running his hands through it, he lowered his head, constantly pinching the bridge of his nose with his fingers. After a long time, he finally said softly, can you come home with me now? It was so embarrassing that I couldn't come up with an excuse to refuse for a moment. On the way home, neither of us spoke. The atmosphere was too strange, so I had to break the silence. What about your girlfriend? Aren't you going to take care of her? He took a deep breath, as if gritting his teeth. There's no girlfriend. The woman just now, She was scared away by your mention of the child. I felt sad again. What, are you going to blame me for ruining your relationship? We arrived. Shinmo parked in the garage, then turned to look at me seriously. Ching, in your eyes, am I such a man who changes his heart easily? You clearly are. You even gave her a special note. I immediately shut up, almost blurting out that I had peeked at his chat history. But at the same time, I realized something. Wait, that chat record wasn't. Yeah, I deliberately took a screenshot for you to see. I just wanted to know if you really didn't love me anymore or if it was just a lover's spat. So, he got out of the car and opened the door for me, nodding and smiling. Yeah, I'm sure now, you still love me very much. Phut, I immediately retorted, but my heart couldn't stop pounding. My mind was like a mess at this moment. As a result, I almost instinctively took his hand and let him help me out of the car. My cheeks were burning hot. His hand was tightly holding mine. And it was also very warm. Ching, make up. Before entering the elevator in the garage, he led me to an unoccupied corner and put his arm around my waist. After making such a scene, I was really too embarrassed to look at him. He gently twirled the hair by my ear with his slender fingers. It was so itchy. Even my heart was itching and trembling. Okay. Suddenly, he kissed me passionately. 10 minutes later, he straightened his tie and walked out of the corner full of confidence. His face seemed to say I'm satisfied written all over it. As for me, I was so kissed that I couldn't utter a single word. All I could think about was what to do about the hickeys on my chest. I couldn't let my mom find out, at home. When my mom knew I was back, she specially cooked a lot of delicious dishes. Shinmo, have a chicken leg. Ching loves the chicken legs I make the most. My mom picked up a chicken leg for Shinmo. Shinmo gave me a meaningful look and smiled. If my mom could cook like you, sister, I'd probably wake up laughing in my dreams. Haha. I wish I could have a son as outstanding as you. By the way, are you and your mom getting along okay? Fine, I'm serious, sister. Your cooking is so delicious that I want to be your son-in-law. Cough. The rice suddenly choked out of my nose. Slow down, no one's competing with you. My mom patted my back, but then her hand suddenly froze. She tugged at my collar. What's going on here? My mind instantly went blank. Help. The collar of this pajamas was a bit loose, and my mom saw the hickey. I looked at Shinmo for help. He pushed his glasses and said naturally, she did it with a straw. Imitating those short video people, trying to give herself a hickey. He's a professor, for God's sake. How could he come up with such a ridiculous story? If I were to give myself a hickey, why not do it on my neck? Even more ridiculously, my mom believed it. She slapped my shoulder. Afraid others will laugh at you for being single. I nodded helplessly. My mom leaned in. Hey, there's a classmate in your school who's nice to you, and he's from the same hometown. He even sent you home, Mom. I was terrified. I saw Shinmo's eyes widen. Such dangerous words shouldn't be said. He stood there like a statue for a few seconds, then his face showed a gentle smile, but his eyes were extremely dangerous. Ching has a close male classmate in school. How come I don't know? Girls are shy. It's normal not to talk about it. My mom slapped the table. Once, Ching couldn't get a taxi to go back to school at 12 o'clock at night, and that boy drove to pick her up. He went all the way to the airport to pick her up at night and then escorted her to the door of the girls' dormitory. Such a nice boy. Mom, stop talking. Yo, the girl is blushing. So shy. It wasn't shyness that made me blush. I was clearly scared. I could feel Shinmo's eyes stabbing at me like knives without even looking. I put down my chopsticks. I'm full. I'm going to my room to organize my things. I slipped away. I hid behind the bedroom door and eavesdropped. My mom was still gossiping to Shinmo about the boy and me. I didn't need to think to know I was in trouble. Before going to bed, Shinmo sent me a message. A close male classmate escorted you all the way to the girls' dormitory door. Your mom also said that boy often invites you to dinner. Jiang Qing, you're a woman with a boyfriend. Can you show some respect for me? I felt like crying but had no tears. We're not married yet. You. I could already imagine the expression of him almost spitting blood on the other side. Honey, listen to me explain. Fine, for the sake of you calling me honey, I'll listen to your explanation. I typed. This was a year ago. I didn't even know you at that time. And then, don't you know what happened later? Shinmo sent a relieved emoji, then dialed a video call. I heard my mom's voice. Shinmo, have some fruit. No, sister, my girlfriend is calling me. scared. I quickly got under the covers, trying to deceive myself. Shinmo was lying. It was clearly him who called. My mom probably thought Shinmo's girlfriend was that beautiful and smart girl. She even teased, "Yo, have you made it official? When are you going to propose?" On the video, Shinmo looked happy. "Soon. I'm still thinking about how to talk to my future mother-in-law so that she'll agree." My mom laughed. "Our Professor Shinmo is so outstanding. How could she not agree? I'd prepare the dowry right away." "Really?" Shinmo had a mischievous smile from his angle. "Of course. When have I ever lied to you?" I couldn't stand it anymore. "My own mom, am I your daughter or what? Without even getting the betrothal gifts, you're already preparing the dowry." Shinmo waved his hand. "Okay, sister, you can go out first. My girlfriend is very clingy. She can't do without me." I couldn't help it. Hearing the door close on the video, I lowered my voice and shouted, "Narcissistic. Who's clingy?" "I'm clingy." Shinmo admitted it with a bit of pride. "Then who can't do without whom?" "I can't do without you." "That's more like it. But what about my relationship with Shinmo?" I wasn't ready. I didn't know if my mom could accept the fact that my little uncle would become her son-in-law. I didn't dare to take the risk, so I ran away from home to do an internship, and I moved in with Shinmo openly, starting a co-living life. During the day, I was Shinmo's assistant. And at night, Shinmo was my ching-ching. I was wrong. Who would have thought that during the day, Professor Shin, who would put on a white coat in the research institute and act so cold and aloof, at night, he would be sitting cross-legged on the bed in his underwear, looking extremely, that little expression, "I'm the one who's." I leaned against the head of the bed. How could our awesome Professor Shin be wrong? It's me who's wrong. I shouldn't have worn perfume to the cultivation room. After all, it was my first day on the job, and I dressed up a bit. Who would have thought that instead of getting an orientation, I was directly taken to the cultivation room? And then, Shinmo criticized me seriously. He said I was unprofessional. I knew I was in the wrong about this, but being lectured by my boyfriend was hard on my pride. "Ching-ching, I criticized you because of work rules. Research is a very serious matter to me," Shinmo said, his voice a bit breathless. I raised my eyebrows. "I know, but what about now?" Shinmo nodded seriously. "Ching-ching criticizing me is also because of the rules. This is our family rule. A husband can't be mean to his wife." But I couldn't help but laugh. When did our family have this rule? Why didn't I know? I added it today. "So, if I say something at work that makes you unhappy in the future, you can scold me back at night. I promise I won't fight back or talk back. So, can you forgive me today?" Shinmo suddenly moved closer to me. Without his glasses, he had to squint to see clearly. This action, coupled with his smiling expression, was simply a foul. Obviously, he was saying the most submissive words, but his demeanor was like a hunter about to enjoy a delicious meal. My heart raced, and I gulped. "It's not impossible to forgive you. You should serve me well, right?" He suddenly kissed me, full of enthusiasm. "Yes, baby, it's time to get up. Or your dean will get angry." Shinmo pecked my cheek. Then I remembered that today was the day Shinmo was invited to give a lecture at our school. It was the first time I attended a lecture at my alma mater as an invitee. Needless to say, I was quite excited, but I never expected that before I could even show off. This happened. "Professor Shin, may I interrupt?" The one speaking was a really young junior. His face was red, holding a piece of paper in his hand, looking hesitant to speak. "Do you want an autograph?" I asked instinctively. After all, after the lecture, many people came to Shinmo for autographs, but they were all girls. This was the first boy. Shinmo stepped forward with a gentle and refined smile, taking a pen from his breast pocket, just as he was about to take the paper. The junior actually dodged, and he looked at me with an expression like he was holding in urine. "Sister, I like you." He stuffed the paper into my hand, then turned around and ran. As he ran, he shouted, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed. What the hell?" I was stunned. I glanced at Shinmo. His face turned as green as a radish, and the muscles at the corners of his mouth were trembling. "She's my girlfriend. Mine." Who would have thought that an elegant and reserved man could be like this? He actually used his long leg advantage to catch up with the young lad. The young lad was so shocked that his lips were trembling. He had never seen such a scene. He looked like he wanted to dig a hole and hide in it, constantly apologizing. "I'm so sorry, sister. I didn't know you were Professor Shin's girlfriend. I always thought you were single." Where does she look single, in a hurry, in front of the young lad? Shinmo kissed the corner of my mouth, even more outrageously. He bared his teeth at the other party. See, we kissed, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Shinmo, my face instantly turned bright red. I wiped my mouth and looked around. There are people all around, and many of them know me. Shinmo directly took off his glasses and rubbed the bridge of his nose. His beautiful, long and narrow eyes looked around unhappily. I just want them to know that you have a boyfriend, so no one will come to show their affection to you. He really didn't care about his professor image at all. Many girls around were whispering, with expressions of disappointment and resentment. I couldn't help but laugh and was also a bit embarrassed and speechless. Several girls threw Shinmo's autograph into the trash can. I punched him lightly, smiling. You asked for it. Now your female fans are gone. I have a girlfriend. What do I need female fans for? Shinmo looked indifferent and directly put his arm around my waist and walked away. But this man still had the word melancholy written in his eyes until dinner time. Baby, it seems you're very popular. He picked up a piece of meat with so much force that the chopsticks stabbed through it. I swallowed subconsciously. Oh, so, are you angry? I'm angry at myself. He put down the chopsticks and stopped eating. I've been with you for almost half a year. Why do some people still think you're single? Is it because you're not happy by my side? When he looked up at me, his eyes were extremely serious. So I need to be even better to you, lest you be deceived by someone else. I'm not going to the research institute today. I'll buy you a few bags. Phut, I couldn't hold back and choked on my tea. As expected of a science major guy. Even his way of showing love is so simple and straightforward. Shinmo, is your way of being good to me just spending money on me? He fell into thought and didn't speak for a long time. I've told you that you're my first love. I learned how to chase girls and how to say sweet nothings from the comics you read. Stop, don't mention those adult comics. I cared about my reputation. Jiang Qing, if I don't meet your expectations, you can tell me more directly. I'll learn seriously. Looking at the handsome and earnest face in front of me, my heart almost melted, but at the same time, I realized something. Wait a minute. Did you learn your Yanda traits from comics too, after all? Some of his actions during kisses were exactly the same as those in the comics. I directly mentioned the name of a certain comic. He nodded. I learned a bit of that naughty tone. Don't many people say that girls like that kind of naughty tone? Help, don't learn, never. The female lead in that one has Stockholm Syndrome. But I don't, and the male lead locked the female lead up in the end. This kind of comic would be terrifying if it happened in real life. He smiled softly and moved closer, grabbed my hands, and kissed them in his palms. Don't worry, I'm not a child, I have my own consciousness. Although I'm possessive, I know very well that if I truly love a woman, how could I bear to make her lose her freedom? I'm just very worried that you'll leave me, like my mother did. Shinmo's mother ran away with someone else. That's why he came back to the country. After I went home with my new bags, I shared with him some comics about too much pressure leads to breakage. The effect was remarkable. He was so afraid that I'd be like sand, slipping away if he held me too tightly. Ever since he read those comics, he never interfered with my normal communication with other men, but he would still get jealous. For example, just now, I was going over a document with a senior in the research institute. Shinmo said, "It's okay, Professor Zhu is very good at cell research, you really should learn more from him." But then he went to get a glass of water and secretly stood by the water dispenser for half an hour. Come out, Shinmo was stunned. You saw me. I took a deep breath. Dude, I'm not blind. Your size 43 feet are sticking out. He was embarrassed. I'm not trying to stop you. The more he explained, the more it seemed like an excuse. He sighed and sat down next to me. You're clearly my assistant. But today you spent the whole day in Professor Zhu's lab, and even when we got home, you're still going over the document with him. You, Shinmo, Professor Zhu is 50 years old. I know, I just mean it's already 11 o'clock at night. You should spend the rest of the time with me now. He put his arm around me, and using his body weight, he pressed me down on the sofa. Oh my God. His frowning little expression was a foul. For a moment, I wanted to kiss his lips. Scared, I quickly grabbed his phone and checked his browsing history. Sure enough, he had read some comics about cute young boys recently. Shinmo, that cute expression doesn't suit you. You're not the younger than you type. Really? He raised his eyebrows, his voice very charming. If it doesn't suit me, then why are you swallowing your saliva? Or is it that no matter what I'm like, you can't resist me? Where did he learn such cheesy lines? Ching ching, I'm getting married the day after tomorrow. I want to have a meal with you. Remember to bring your boyfriend too. Because of a text message from Yao Yao, Shenmo and I took a leave and went home. But who would have thought this place was so small? Shenmo actually ran into an acquaintance. In the restaurant, I nudged Shenmo with my elbow. Look, the little aunt. What little aunt? Shenmo frowned. Then turned around. His smile immediately disappeared. I've already deleted her. And I didn't agree to be with her in the first place. That beautiful and intelligent girl was having a meal with a man. Her expression was very ugly. She seemed to have seen Shenmo. Her eyes lit up, and she immediately ran over. She hugged Shenmo's arm right in front of me. Shenmo, let's be together. Okay. Shenmo almost jumped up from his seat, with an expression as if he would be allergic if he touched her. Let go. I have nothing to do with you. The beauty immediately burst into tears. I was wrong. I shouldn't have run away when I heard about the child that day. My parents forced me to go on a blind date again, and I don't like that man. I couldn't stand it anymore. Beauty, can you stop pestering him? The woman was probably in a hurry and snapped at me. Can you have some manners? What are you interfering with between me and your uncle? Be careful, I'll tell your mom. I was stunned on the spot. I didn't even have time to react to what she said. My mind just went blank. What did she say? No manners. I may not have a father to teach me, but don't you have one either? I was so angry that I wanted to curse, but before I could do anything, Shenmo actually picked her up and threw her out. Of course, the woman kept shouting that she would go and tell my mom. I was a bit dazed. I hadn't thought about how to tell my mom yet. Shenmo and I booked tickets for the day after tomorrow and decided to rest at home these 2 days. My mom was cooking, and I was helping wash the vegetables beside her. I asked tentatively, Mom, if I want to find a boyfriend, would you agree? My mom paused. That's a good thing. What are the conditions of the guy? I was nervous, raised my hand tremblingly, and showed a number. He's older than me, by 6, 7 years. Afraid that my mom would guess it was Shenmo, I changed 6 to 7. My mom frowned. That's quite a big age gap. Have you thought about when to have a baby? After the pregnancy misunderstanding last time, I didn't dare to think about having a baby. I shook my head. I don't have that idea for now. I'm still young. Maybe in 10 years. No way. My mom immediately shook her head. In 10 years, how old will that man be? Will his body still be up to it? And, cough, sister. Shenmo couldn't stand it anymore and came over with an embarrassed expression. In 10 years, the man will only be in his 40s. What's wrong with his body? My mom shook her head like a rattle. Look at auntie next door. She had her baby too late, and the child has a weak body and gets sick often. I felt depressed. No one spoke during dinner. Taking advantage of the time when my mom went to do square dancing, Shenmo and I took a walk to digest food and seriously talked about this matter. My mom doesn't seem to agree. What should we do? Don't worry. We'll think of a way, Shenmo comforted me. Who would have thought that we would run into an acquaintance while taking a walk in the middle of the night? Yo, isn't this Ching Ching? I saw it was Aunt Chen, our neighbor. Scared, I immediately kicked Shenmo and separated from him by a meter. Shenmo looked wronged. Aunt Chen? What a coincidence. I smiled. Aunt Chen looked at Shenmo with a motherly smile and whispered, Is this your boyfriend? I heard from your mom that you're dating a professor. Tall and handsome, I didn't expect him to be so good looking. What? I was shocked. Wait a minute. Did I hear wrong? I looked at Shenmo. He also had a stunned expression. Aunt Chen, what exactly did my mom tell you? Which professor did she mention? My question confused Aunt Chen. Your mom said you're dating a biology professor who studied abroad. Is it him? I saw Shenmo change his expression faster than turning a page for the first time in my life. He was stunned just now. But now he looked like a happy son, stepping forward gently and nodding. Yes, it's me. I'm Ching Ching's boyfriend. I just didn't expect my future mother-in-law to praise me in front of others. I'm a bit flattered. Phut, future mother-in-law, wasn't he calling her sister at night? Why did he change his words so quickly? My mom actually knew. This was beyond my expectation. But now that I think about it, my mom's reactions when talking to Shenmo didn't seem to be without signs. My mom said that if it were her, she would prepare the dowry for me right away. My mom said that if she had a son like Shenmo, she would wake up laughing in her dreams. I waited for my mom to come back from dancing at the door of our house. The light in the corridor flickered. scaring my mom. Kid, what are you doing squatting here? I was excited but also a bit timid. Mom, about me and Shinmo. Did you know about it a long time ago? Shinmo stood behind me and called out in a slightly submissive voice. Sister, don't call me sister, my mom snapped. Just when I was wondering if my mom was angry, Shinmo actually changed his words with a smile. Okay, mother-in-law, oh my god. As expected of a man who has known my mom longer than me, I didn't even dare to act cute with my mom, but he dared. My mom pursed her lips, looking like she was thinking you have a sweet mouth, and then entered the house. As she put down her bag, she muttered, do you think your mom is a fool? I'm also an experienced person. I saw clearly the little expressions you and Shinmo had when you looked at each other. She came over and poked my forehead, then poked Shinmo's forehead. You too, you've got quite a nerve, flirting right in front of me. I couldn't help but chuckle. Mom, aren't you angry that I'm with your younger brother? Of course I'm angry, my mom sighed, but Shinmo is at least someone we know well. He's handsome and rich. If you're with him, I can at least be at ease, and if he treats you badly, I'll go find your great uncle and give his son a good scolding. I'll treat Ching well. Shinmo nodded seriously. I couldn't resist and grabbed my mom's arm to act coquettish. Mom tilde. Shinmo imitated me and also acted coquettish. Mom tilde. My mom rolled her eyes so hard they almost went to the back of her head. I'm telling you, Shinmo. You won't be able to marry my daughter without $1 million or so. Shinmo actually looked delighted and knelt down on the spot to acknowledge the relationship. Mom, I'll come to propose with the betrothal gifts tomorrow. The end of the main story. Extra story. I'm Shinmo, Ching, and I have been together for half a year. On the day she started her winter vacation, I prepared flowers and a ring to propose to her, but I didn't expect to receive a text message instead. She wanted to break up with me. Shinmo, I'm going to start my internship next semester. My mom arranged it through connections, and we'll be in different places. I don't like long-distance relationships. It gives me no sense of security. So, let's break up. I had imagined that there might be conflicts between lovers. But I never thought that without even a single argument, we'd reach this final step. When I called, I found out I was blocked. When I went to her school to find her, she had already left. Why couldn't she just listen to me? If she was afraid of long-distance relationships, I could go to her city. Couldn't I just compromise? In desperation, I used my connections to get the contact information of her home. When I dialed the number, I found that there was already a note on my phone. Ching's mom was actually my sister. Besides being shocked, I was actually a bit happy. At least, I could visit my sister as an excuse to have a good talk with Ching. But I was wrong. I thought she'd be happy to see me, but she wasn't. The long-distance relationship was just an excuse. She thought my possessiveness was too strong and that I was too clingy to her. This was the real reason she wanted to break up. Yes, I do have a strong possessiveness, but I had told her all about it. Because my mom said she loved me and my dad, but in the end, she still ran off with another man. But after going home, I also reflected on it. As long as she could come back to me, I wouldn't be as clingy as before. I'd try my best to give her enough free space. Although she wanted to break up with me, based on my understanding of her, she still had feelings for me. Because when I kissed her wrist, even though she dodged and scolded me, her eyes still had the shyness she had when we were in love. Our 6-month relationship was genuine. As long as she still had me in her heart, I could take a risky move. I thought about the fact that Ching and I shared an Apple ID. I deliberately went on a blind date and hired the woman I was set up with for 4,000 yuan to act out a scene with me. In fact, I was very nervous. I wasn't sure if Ching would look at the screenshots I deliberately saved in iCloud, nor was I sure if she would go to the appointed place after seeing them. Fortunately, she came. But I never expected her to bring me earth-shattering news. She was pregnant. When I saw the blood between her legs, I was really terrified. I knew that the most important thing at that moment was to send her to the hospital, but I couldn't help thinking, how could she be pregnant? I clearly took precautions. But I believe in Ching. Ching isn't that kind of woman. If there really was a child, it would be a good thing for me. I had found a comic from my browsing history before. The male and female leads had a family of 3. After having a child, they became even happier. After reading it, I couldn't help but search for ways to make a woman conceive more easily. But I also knew that this kind of thing couldn't be rushed, and I didn't know if Ching liked children. What if she didn't? it would be a loss. But Ching Ching actually said to me, "Shen Mo, I'm telling you, neither I nor the baby can have anything wrong." This moment was probably the most exciting moment in my life. I picked her up and rushed to the emergency room like crazy. While waiting in the corridor, I searched for how to take care of a pregnant woman and how to do prenatal education for the baby until my hands were shaking. However, the doctor poured a bucket of cold water on me. Ching Ching wasn't pregnant, she was just having her period. It was another girl, Ching Ching's best friend named Yao Yao, who was pregnant, but at least my Ching Ching came back. And there was still a chance for everything. I'll do everything I can to be good to her and try to meet all her requirements. Now that things were settled with Ching Ching, I was only worried about my mother-in-law. I probed my sister again and again to see what her thoughts would be if I became her son-in-law. My mother-in-law seemed quite satisfied with me, so my pressure was much less. It's just that Ching Ching was constantly worried and looked flustered whenever she saw her mom. But I didn't expect my sister to be so smart. She had noticed something was up from the beginning and had already made plans for Ching Ching and me. No, I should call her mother-in-law now, right? I'm getting married soon, in a few more months. I'll have to change my address to Mom. I remember my mother-in-law asking me, after calling me sister for so many years, "Can your thick skin as Professor Shen handle changing to Mom?" I replied, "Yes, honey, today is your speech. Do a great job." 1 year after getting married, Ching Ching has made rapid progress in her research. She was even invited back to her alma mater to give a speech. Right after putting on her lipstick, she kissed my earlobe. "Aren't you coming with me?" "Of course I am. But this time I'll be in the audience." This was the first time I saw her on stage. She was different from when I first met her. Now she was more confident and elegant. Not only was I infatuated with her, but even her juniors were looking at her with admiration. "Hey, I heard this is our senior sister. Wow, this senior sister is so beautiful. I wonder if she's single. I'll go ask for her contact information later." I frowned, feeling unhappy. It's been a year since we got married. How could there still be people thinking she's single? I turned my head to look at the two brats behind me. I deliberately showed my earlobe and pointed at the lipstick mark on it. The brat was stunned for a moment. Then took out a tissue from his pocket. Very kindly he wanted to wipe it for me. Scared, I quickly slapped his hand away. "What are you doing? No good deed goes unpunished. Didn't you ask me to wipe it for you?" I smiled happily. "No, I just wanted to show you. This lip print was kissed by your senior sister."